There has been a feedback in the interpretation booth, which will prevent interpretation services from being offered.
Way to do things and to rise in the House and to ask for a list of names to be revealed. He knows full well that's irresponsible, and we won't do that.
The honourable member from Calgary Forest Lawn.
Certain members of this House acted in the best interest of hostile foreign regimes interfering in Canada's democracy. This is a disgusting betrayal of Canadians who elected us to represent them in this place. We as MPs are supposed to serve Canadians, not foreign hostile actors. Why is this Liberal NDP government fighting to protect MPs' names, collaborating in the best interest of hostile foreign regimes and not Canadians?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I'll repeat what I said a moment ago in French. We agree with members of this House that the appropriate forum to look at these matters is the Commission, already set up and operating. Set up, I would remind colleagues, with the unanimous support of all parties in this House. The Hague Commission has access to all of the documents of the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians looked at. Officials from the Privy Council office have already been in touch with the Hague Commission to determine the best way forward. We think that's a responsible way to proceed, not simply standing up and illegally announcing a list of names like my colleague suggests.
The honourable member from Calgary Forest Lawn.
Woohoo, get over it was the most disgusting response from this cover-up coalition. This government turned a blind eye to foreign interference to protect their own partisan interests. They refused to hand over documents to that commission, and now they won't release the names of the MPs in this House doing dirty work for foreign hostile regimes. Canadians need to know who these MPs are. Is this Liberal NDP government really going to let sitting members of this House working against the interest of Canadians run in the next election?
Before the Honourable Minister responds, I'm just going to encourage all members, please, not to express their voices unless they are recognized by the chair. The Honourable the Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Again, Mr. Speaker, the government will be supporting the motion before the House today brought by the Bloc Québécois, asking the Hague Commission to examine this very matter. We think that's the appropriate way to do it. The Conservatives are pretending that you can stand up and release a list of names. Mr. Speaker, I asked the Deputy Commissioner of the RCMP, Mark Flynn, this morning, what would happen if I stood up and announced a list of names like my colleagues are asking me to do, and he said I would be subject to criminal prosecution. So guess what, Mr. Speaker? I'm not going to do that.
0.3% economic growth. How could so much money buy so little?
Stephen Harper and the Conservatives added over $150 billion to the national debt with nothing to show for it. We made the decision to invest in Canadians instead, put more money in the pockets of middle class. And what did we get? 1 million Canadians lifted out of poverty.
From Thornhill.
Speaker, the Prime Minister was warned multiple times about security threats from foreign interference. He was told measures to protect something as fundamental as our democracy were insufficient, and he repeatedly failed to do anything about it. We now know that members of this House knowingly assisted hostile foreign states against Canada's interests, and the government hides behind national security and cabinet confidence while these members are still allowed to sit in caucus, sit in this House, and serve their communities second. They've redacted and withheld documents from the Hague Commission. So will they hand over all of the documents unredacted with names?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, as I said earlier in question period, our government has always collaborated with the Hague Commission, and senior public servants who are responsible for decisions around redactions work collaboratively and constructively at all times. And as I said, Mr. Speaker, obviously the government will ensure that the Hague Commission has access to all of the documents necessary to do the important work that we've asked them to do. That's been our position since we created the Hague Commission, and that will continue to be the work we'll do.
Member from Thornhill.
A really long way to say no. Canadians want to know who is working against
I'm going to just stop the honourable member just so that we don't injure either our interpreters or other members who are listening on their earphones. If there's any earphones which are near a microphone, I just ask members if they could put them in the proper place to make sure that we don't get that Larson effect. The honourable member from Thornhill from the top, please.
Saying that that is a very long way to say no, and Canadians deserve to know who is working against Canada. Right. Their responses have been a convoluted finger-pointing exercise of secret committees, or worse, dismissive, boo-hoo, get-over-it statements from someone who once sat on the very committee that just...
I'm going to just stop the member once again. I see that members are not having any translation services. I'm going to continue talking until... Do they hear a translation at this time? Ladies and dear colleagues, we're just going to suspend the House for a couple of minutes as we explore further on this issue.